Hey everybody, it's Friday. It's a Get Ready With Me Emptiness edition. So if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Always good to see you guys. I am not a mental health professional. I am in fact a 20-year veteran of the mental health industrial complex, and I have some opinions. Specifically today, I'm going to be criticizing the borderline personality disorder symptoms, the symptom of emptiness, because back in 2010 I was misdiagnosed with BPD, and a lot of trauma and things like that came from that. So I'm just here to talk about it and call bullshit on stuff. So let's get started. Alright. Okay, so I experienced emptiness recently in January. That was one of my sort of final symptoms of my mixed bipolar episode with psychosis. Okay, and emptiness is not a fun feeling. For me, emptiness feels like a detachment from this planet, from my existence. I feel a complete detachment from myself, and the self that I am part of no longer has a feeling. It's numb, and we'll get into the emotional numbness criticism too. And you know, I don't recall happiness or sadness or anything like that. I just remember that feeling of emptiness and how much it sucked. Now the problem is with the borderline personality disorder, it said they have chronic feelings of emptiness. And there's really no known cause for any of this stuff, but when it comes to the borderline personality disorder diagnosis, they seem to have an answer for everything. Your feelings of emptiness are caused by your fear of abandonment, your fear of rejection, your identity disturbance. Okay, so I talk a lot. The identity thing makes me so angry because, okay, when I had psychosis back in January, I lost my sense of self. I no longer knew who I was, and the thing is, guys, is that it was only temporary, and it was fixed with medication and the hospital. Okay, but when it comes to this borderline personality disorder, they blame like rejection and abandonment and stuff like that. And then it said people with BPD have these unstable emotions. Okay, yeah, and in that case, you're not allowed to feel anything. Like, when I would sit there and talk about how I was feeling and stuff, it was always checked off in a box. Your emotions are part of the BPD. You no longer own those emotions. It's just... And, so in one regard, they accuse you of emotional instability. That everything you feel, you just feel really hard. But then when you have feelings of emptiness, they accuse you of emotional numbness. So you're not allowed to have any type of emotion without it being part of the disorder. If you see what I'm saying here. Okay, and let's talk about anger. I was watching my favorite person, Dr. Daniel Fox, this morning. The expert on BPD. Okay, he talked about, and I don't want to misquote him, but this is just kind of like what he said. People start to use anger Yeah, people start to use anger as a way to fill that emptiness void. And here's the problem with that is this is what they accuse you of, sort of. So if you're using anger to fill that emptiness void and you're constantly angry, you're going to drive people away. But on the inside, you have a fear of abandonment and rejection and all this stuff, but you're going to cause that by being angry all the time. It's like people with BPD, because I know, like, bipolar, I'm bipolar, we get accused of being angry all the time, and I was angry yesterday. I had good reasons. But okay, so he's kind of like saying that people with BPD learn to respond with anger to fill that void. I think that is bullshit. That's just bullshit. It's they treat people with the supposed disorder as though they are specimens, and it drives me crazy how they talk about people. Okay, here's something. Not being part of a group. Now, this doesn't have so much to do with emptiness, but, or maybe it does, because it's like, people with BPD are said to not necessarily belong to any particular group, and that is true for myself. I've always been friends with everybody. But they'll use that against you in this disorder as saying that you don't know how you identify yourself. Which is kind of shitty, because I think I was just always like an individual, and nobody really held it against me until I became an adult and the mental health system decided to tell me that, you know, I was weird. But, yeah, so they think that because you're not part of a group, they're suggesting that the pain that we're suffering from not belonging to a group is crippling. So maybe that's why they pay so much attention to identity, because they're under the assumption that you must be suffering if you don't belong to a group. Yeah, that's just stupid. I'm so glad these people have college degrees and they're experts, because they're fucking stupid. Okay. That's all I got today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be like in the 70s. Something like that today. So I guess I'll see you guys around. Ta-ta. Bye.